I don't think anyone was expecting what we got from the EA Star Wars YouTube channel on September 14th of 2020. In the short film titled Hunted from Star Wars Squadrons, we saw something truly astonishing. Now, I don't mean on a technological level. We've seen game engine technology reach a near photorealistic level with recent games like God of War and The Last of Us 2, and I think we all anticipate further photorealism as we move into a 4K standard. And I don't mean on a narrative level. The story of Hunted is pretty basic. I mean, one of the things I'm struck by is just everything happening in the background as you see what he's doing in the cockpit, but everything happening outside the ship. Varco Gray gets left behind in his lone TIE interceptor and hides from the New Republic in a debris field. This looks like Rogue One. This looks totally real. A single X-Wing pilot finds him and a chase ensues. The X-Wing pilot says the war is over. After Gray survives, the words echo in his head, and as his rescuers approach, he says, "Not for me," and that's it. Pretty run-of-the-mill story structure and plot. I don't even mean on a game level, per se. A Star Wars game already appeals to a niche audience, and there's not a huge number of gamers clamoring for a Starfighter game. I mean, this shot right here, the visor, the reflections. I don't think Squadrons is going to change the gaming industry or change the path of Star Wars games in the future. The way the cockpit rotates and the scene outside is just phenomenal. I mean, you can feel the tension of Gray trying to get to the ship. It's like it's palpable. This is just from folks working on a video game. The level of characterization, the getting inside his head, feeling what he feels. Kind of that stillness with the sound of ships going overhead. Even though ships don't make sound in space, it's still cool. I don't necessarily anticipate that the campaign will have the impact of a Red Dead Redemption or even a Jedi Fallen Order. You get that sense it's kind of like Jaws. You see the silent predator. It's a really cool effect. But the way the technology and story were brought together, the quality of this very simple narrative and its technological presentation has astounding implications for the future, not only of games, but of storytelling and movie making itself. Historically, Star Wars has always been the proving ground for new filmmaking technologies. With the original Star Wars, George Lucas revolutionized the very way Hollywood made movies. From the technology to the music to the merchandise, Industrial Light and Magic literally invented new methods of making special effects. People at ILM invented the Pixar computer. John Knoll of ILM and his brother Thomas invented Photoshop. For the Star Wars prequels, George Lucas oversaw a revolution in computer special effects. First used in the Star Wars special editions, they were perfected for the prequels. Most of those effects still stand the test of time to this day. Without Ahmed Best's groundbreaking performance of Jar Jar Binks, we may not have had Andy Serkis's brilliant portrayal of Gollum. ILM invented Massive, the computer software which enabled both the large number of battle droids and Gungans we saw fighting on the plains of Naboo, and the massive number of orcs and elves fighting at Helm's Deep. Without George Lucas, who knows when we might have achieved true digital filmmaking. Partnering with Sony, George Lucas was the first person to film a full-length feature entirely on digital with Attack of the Clones. Cameras became lighter and more versatile. The medium would no longer degrade like film and was cheaper. Editing became faster and easier. The director and his entire crew can now look at dailies while shooting and redo a take on the spot. If you were born after the year 2000, you probably don't even understand how amazing it is to have a 4K camera in your pocket and can watch back your videos instantly. George changed not only the way movies could be made, but also how much it would cost, even though the industry has been slow to make use of the way these technologies cut the cost of movie making. Today, Jon Favreau has overseen a new revolution in filmmaking technology with The Mandalorian, recently awarded 5 Emmys, including special effects. People across the industry are coming to see how actors can now perform live inside alien environments. This not only cuts production costs, but time as well. Watching Squadrons hunted, we witnessed the culmination of these technologies. I mean, even the way that the glass on the targeting computer looks, that glass dome effect you see. We open on a space battle that looks as good as anything created at ILM for The Rise of Skywalker. We see facial expressions that might as well be live on camera. We see clouds, water effects, and ground textures that are nearly indistinguishable from the real thing. The way he turns the sound effect of his equipment as he moves. These clouds look real. I can't count the number of times my brain tried to solve the conundrum of this thing that looked so real that I knew wasn't. The way the visor of the X-Wing pilot reflected in the light was so subtle and such a small thing, but these tiny details point to the level of depth that can finally be achieved. And they're even throwing little bits of the game mechanics into the scene. This shot right here, like there's an actual camera on an actual TIE fighter flying through the actual sky. We're well past the question of, can a CGI character be convincing on screen against real actors? Now we have to ask the question, do we even need real actors? Certainly an A-list actor can perform in a motion capture suit to be processed in a game engine, but what about a production company with a staff of motion capture artists who do the bulk of the work, and you just bring in the A-listers to mocap their face and record their lines? This was just super cool right here. Looks like an oil painting with the ships moving in and out of the smoke plumes. The ground textures are just phenomenal. The particle effects. The look on his face with the eye blinks. It just, you really get a sense for the tension. It's just phenomenal. The water effects. Looks just like The Force Awakens. Now, this doesn't necessarily replace realistic filmmaking. I don't want to see costume designers and art directors and set designers be completely put out of work. But I think in a lot of cases it makes sense to use this technology. This takes the CGI animation of the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels and takes it to a whole level beyond. Entire movies can now be made using a video game engine. This also continues to raise the bar on what is possible with interactive storytelling. Look at this, the transparency, the sand below the water. I mean, this is as photorealistic as anything I've seen. I was already excited for Squadrons, but I'm even more excited now for what is possible for filmmaking and television, not just in Star Wars, but beyond. Down to the little fire pit and the embers beside him, with the individual hairs fluttering on his face. I hope you'll drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click that bell icon so that you'll be notified when I publish another video. The pebbles that move when he gets up, the wind on his uniform. If you'd like to support the work I do here on the Battlefront Survival Guide, you can buy me a coffee through the link down in the description. The reflections, there's just nothing to dislike about this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.